Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about when it comes to buying a laptop for people that work with AI and specifically in the field of generative AI. I have been using my MacBook Pro M1 since 2021. I never had any problem with running image generation with Comfy UI or even automatic 1111. For the most part, I was able to use it for Fusion Face, and most of my AI work run on my M1 Pro Max. At the beginning, I had lots of problems with how to install TensorFlow and PyTorch, which I work a lot with those two libraries. There were solutions to install it through Conda, and still until today, that's the only solution. Shame on Apple for not finding a solution for allow users to install those libraries natively, like the way we used to do. And also shame on people that they are in charge of those libraries. So they're basically denying a huge community out there, have different devices, but they decided to only have it available for NVIDIA GPU and Intel CPU users. So I hope one of those people that are involved and in charge of this kind of stuff, they see this video and do something about it. Personally, for my work, when I deploy a technology, I use cloud-based servers to run my codes, and I do not use those cloud-based servers as my day-to-day. For my personal work and the things I experimenting, which I do lots of work with image generations and video generation. Specifically, I work a lot with Comfy UI. So I only use my Mac, and the reason behind that is I already invested so much in the Mac ecosystem. I have microphone, iPads, earbuds, headphones, everything is Mac. It does not make sense for me to move to another ecosystem, and also it's very convenient. For example, if I have a Zoom call on my iPhone and then I sit in front of my laptop, I can switch right away and connect, or I can have access to all of my files in all of my devices. I can share between. I'm using AirDrop. So there are lots of things that I like about it, and also obviously the convenience of not installing any antivirus, and basically the software is really good and it's very efficient. With MacBook Pro Max, you can literally like work all day without need to charging your laptop. Mac is just constantly upgrading their CPU and hardware, but it's stupid enough. They don't think, okay, so you need to use it in some way. So if you're not making your peace with all the other technology makers out there, for the game companies, with people in AI field, so basically M3, M5, M10, it would be useless, because regular people, they're working on their Mac for doing basic works. They really don't need any of those things. You can be really fine even with a MacBook Air. So if you're making a professional machine, you have to also make sure that professional machine can be used in variety of the tasks that those professionals, they need it. So I was trying to find a solution. First solution came to my mind. I have to find a Linux machine, and most of the Linux laptops are sold out. So there is none. There are two Linux machines I could find. One is a German company called Tuxedo Computers. If you want to get this display, which is 2K, and NVIDIA RTX 4090 60 gigabyte, if you buy a Mac M3 Pro Max, you get a 4K screen, so Mac wins. If you want also get the highest GPU here, RAM is 64 gigabyte, which Mac you can max it out to 128 gigabytes. They both have the same level of storage you can upgrade. The price for this one, which comes to 4,173 euros plus tax and 99 euros shipping fee, came to $4,582 probably plus tax, which if you want to buy a M3 Pro Max and max out your RAM, which is you get 2 times more and get 4K screen, your Mac, which I paid for M3 Pro Max for $4,964. So it's not really that much of difference. The other options are like, okay, you want to go with Windows, and you have this razor blade, 16-inch 4K. You get similar resolution as Mac, and you get GeForce RTX 49, and still you get 64 gigabyte of RAM, which is like not similar to what you get with Mac, up to 128 gigabyte. 4,699 plus tax, which would be close to $5,000. Your other option is MSI laptop, which most of the other laptop they have for gaming, the top of the line, they're all sold out and it doesn't exist. This is the only one you can get right now. And similar to a Razer Blade, this one also has 4090 RTX NVIDIA, and you get still 64 gigabyte of RAM, which with Mac you can get 120 gigabyte. So basically you have this three options with Mac, Windows, and Linux. Price range, all of them are similar. So in this regard, the price is not really a factor here. So I decided to get the Mac. I maxed out my M3 Pro Max, and I run some tests, which I think like you guys are here to see some of my test results. So I run 72 frames video restyling at Comfy UI. This is my settings. So I use two control models, 24 steps. I was able to restyle this video in 45 minutes, or this is the result. This video is not about how to applying Comfy UI or how make very impressive videos. Please keep in mind, it's just about a test for if this machine can do the job. For the full video, it was about 3 hours. And then there is this company I also really like them. This video is not a sponsor by them or Run Diffusion, so they provide you with all the user interface you need. And so in our case, like Comfy UI, you can have different kind of machines. I normally use this 99 cents for 1 hour, but you can, it's a medium size machine, and you can use small size 50 cents per hour. And what is good about this company, which I really like, all the models are already by default uploaded there. And so basically you don't have to do much. So you can drag and drop your workspace, and sometimes you need to just install the missing nodes. That's it. So I tested with a Run Diffusion the same full video, which was on M3 Pro Max 3 hours. With Run Diffusion, it turns out to 1 hour and 36 minutes. So to 17 seconds video, which was like 408 frames. And then I tried to do a vid-to-vid workspace. This is on Run Diffusion. So as you can see, out of memory, so wasn't able to process vid-to-vid Run Diffusion, which I'm surprised. I got the same error with M3 Pro Max, so ran out of memory. And then I did test on one of my favorite applications, Face Fusion. Really great, amazing, bright people, and Thanks to them for making such an amazing technology. So with face swapper, face enhancer, and frame enhancer, which is like on my M1 Pro Max, I could never use frame enhancer and face enhancer at once. So I either have to use one of them. If I would use both of them, I would run out of memory and it crashes. But on my M3 Pro Max, so I was able to perfectly run this, and as you can see here, those 17 seconds of the video finish in 15 minutes and 50 seconds, which is really great speed. I'm happy with that, and this is the result. Also, I did some screen recording while I was processing, so you can see how much your machine is under pressure. I did not feel like my M3 Pro Max suffering at all. However, I have to mention like the fan was running all the time. So when I was doing video processing, these are the tests. So overall, do I keep my M3 Pro Max or I stick with my M1 Pro Max? I think I'm going to upgrade for a couple of reasons. First of all, like I can trade in my older Mac. They providing with $1,350 trade-in credit for that. Also, I was able to do all of my video processing with my M3 Pro Max, which before I couldn't do it with M1 Pro Max. Or if I was able to do it, it would take a day or 28 hours to just finish like 20 seconds video. And for me, Windows is not option because I cannot change everything I have. I have already so much investment in Mac ecosystem. And that's something I feel more comfortable using it. So I'm sure like Windows has lots of great options to offer people, and it's a good machine as well. So there is nothing personal against that. The other reason for that is like really like I I work a lot outside of home or my office, so I sometimes also I need like a second monitor to check my terminals and other things I need. So basically, I always have my iPad with me, and it's very convenient. Even I can even like wirelessly use my iPad as my second monitor, which I use it a lot. I hope people in Apple they really stop ignoring this huge group of people. They invested lots of money like me and time on their ecosystem, and they are working in AI, and they were happy when everything was compatible with all those AI libraries, and suddenly Apple decided to change their direction and created this amazing M1, M2, M3 chips, and suddenly they forgot about all those people. So you guys make lots of money, so you have money, you can afford to adopt your new hardware to industry standards. So it's embarrassing you're not doing that. People that are behind TensorFlow, people are behind Stable Diffusion, people are behind most of the AI technologies. So also you have to consider there are a big group of people, they have different machines, and it's a fair market, and you cannot monopolize your technology only to work with one individual NVIDIA company. I think it's time for you to consider all of their users, and it's not fair to users. They have to go and find a way to hack things, or they have to work with a half-done job because you're not supporting other hardware. If you want to buy a laptop for Stable Diffusion, especially if you want to run video processing, so you have to max out your RAM. That's like especially with Mac. So if you have to sell your kidney and get 120 gigabyte of RAM, you have to do that. So with lower RAM, you won't be able to use it. The cloud-based technologies such as Run Diffusion, which is like really good. They're great people. It's good. So those are options if you still have like a older machines and you want to use that. What I do normally, I use my M3 Pro Max for most of my work, and if something is really heavy and I cannot run it, I just do like a couple of frames. I get my setting right, and once I'm comfortable with that, and then I just upload it on Run Diffusion and run it there. But even though there still I had problem with video to video processing, so bit to bit it doesn't work there. So I don't know why. So I'm sure some of you guys have Windows machines, and I would love you do the test and write in the comments that how this works in comparison with Mac, the timing and all those things, so other people can read those comments and have an idea, because really there are lots of amazing videos out there about how to install Comfy UI, how to use it, but there is really no video to explain the hardware it's required and what kind of laptop you can have or desktop. So I think someone should do those kind of stuff too. And the other thing is like a few tips for the Mac users, because it took me a very long time to figure it out. One thing for Comfy UI is very important, is how to install your PyTorch. This is extremely important. So here, when you want to do the conda, so this is what you get. But you don't want to install stable one. You want to install nightly, this one. So if you don't install this one with this setting, nightly, conda, and here you don't have any other option. So your PyTorch installation is very important. And also when you install PyTorch, so basically on your terminals, you want to type Python and enter. And I found this great repo by PyTorch for beginners, install PyTorch. So basically after you type Python and enter in your terminal on your conda environment that you created specifically for your Comfy UI, then you import Torch and print Torch version. So depends on what time you watch this video, some numbers should show up. Currently this is the number shows up right now. And then after you see this, so obviously you have PyTorch, but also you want to see like if it is available. And so then you're going to type this, enter, and type this, enter, and you have to see this true. If it comes out, that means your MPS, which is kind of like CUDA for Mac, is available and installed. There are additional tests here if you want to type Jupyter Notebook and open a new notebook and import Torch and then run this codes to see if it works. There are additional, but it's not necessary. So once you figure out your PyTorch is correctly installed, there are also something nobody mentioned on videos out there. When you want to run your terminal to basically work with your Comfy UI, so you want to run your Comfy UI with this command. Just don't type python main.py. Just make sure to type python main.py --force-fp16. So this is very important because when you do this, you're enabling your GPU. So, and this is very important to how to use that. If you can comment and share your test, either if it's with Mac or Windows or Linux machine, it would be great when you write those comments. It helps people to decide about a good decision for themselves. And here also I recorded some of the processing, so you can see while I'm processing videos on M3 Pro Max, and RAM is mostly stays around 60 to 70%, and my CPU always stayed below 6-7%. Obviously, when I'm recording this video, it uses my CPU as well, so, and my RAM, so it increases a little bit that. But when I do not record a video on my M3 Pro Max, so my CPU always stays below 6.